Hello, Cules. Here we are again, hearts racing after the Madrid derby on this 27th of September 2025, where Atletico de Madrid handed Real Madrid a historic thrashing, a 5-2 that echoes throughout Spanish football. The Metropolitano was boiling, and amid this football chaos, Julián Álvarez, the current Colchonero star, dropped some words about FC Barcelona that left us all with raised eyebrows. Yes, Cules, this concerns us. So hold on tight, because this story is packed with goals, emotions, and a touch of Blaugrana humor to keep us smiling, even though the topic is serious and the focus is on what the Argentine said. The match starts with Atletico determined to make a statement. At just the 14th minute, Roby Lenormand rises like an eagle and heads in a perfect cross from Giuliano Simeone. The 1-0 sends the Metropolitano into a frenzy, and the merengues, with that "this wasn't in the script" look, start sweating. But Real Madrid, league leaders with 18 points and a near-perfect start under Xavi Alonso, don't just stand by. At the 25th minute, Kylian Mbappé, that painful signing in white, receives a pinpoint pass from Arda Güler and finishes with the cold-blooded precision of a killer in a one-on-one. The tension rises, and at the 36th minute, Güler, who seems to be everywhere, caps off a counterattack initiated by Vinicius Jr. to make it 1-2. The merengues celebrate, but the Cule joke is that this Real Madrid thought they had everything under control. Big mistake. Just before halftime, at 45+3, Alexander Ezelot, that Norwegian Viking from Atletico, equalizes with a goal that smells like hope for the Colchoneros. The 2-2 at halftime leaves everything open, but the second half is a red and white monologue. At the 51st minute, Güler makes a monumental mistake by smashing into Nico Gonzalez's face in the box. Penalty. Who takes it? Julián Álvarez, the 24-year-old pibe in God mode. With the calm of a Zen monk, he sends the ball into the back of the net, 3-2. And as if that weren't enough, at the 63rd minute, Alvarez unleashes a free-kick masterpiece, a curve that Thibaut Courtois can only watch while wondering if he should have stayed at Chelsea. 4-2, the Metropolitano is in party mode, and Real Madrid, with their disarmed defense, start looking like a neighborhood team on a bad day. To top it all off, in the 90+3 minute, Antoine Griezmann, who came on as a substitute, capitalizes on a defensive error, because, of course, Real Madrid was already in every-man-for-himself mode, and makes it 5-2. Atletico, who started the day 9 points behind the leader, don't just win, they humiliate Real Madrid and climb to 4th place. Meanwhile, the merengues watch as Barcelona, with 16 points, can catch up if they win tomorrow against Real Sociedad. And this, Cules, is where the humor comes in. Imagine the Madridistas checking the table and realizing that Barca is one step away from stealing the league lead. It's as if football is playing a cruel joke on them. But what really brings us together here, Cules, is what happens after the match. Julián Álvarez, still sweating and full of adrenaline, steps up to the microphones in the post-match press conference. The Argentine, who has 4 league goals this season and a hat-trick against Rayo Vallecano a few days ago, is at the center of the storm. And then, when everyone expects him to talk only about the derby, he drops a bomb no one saw coming. He talks about FC Barcelona. Barca is always a team that commands respect, he says, with that mix of humility and cunning that characterizes him. Playing against them is a huge challenge. They have a unique style, and now with Flick, they're showing an incredible level. It's a club that any player admires, and who knows what the future holds. Boom. Social media explodes, Cules start dreaming, and rumors about Barca's possible interest in Alvarez, which had already circulated before, skyrocket like a rocket. Let's put this in perspective. Julián Álvarez is no ordinary player. This pibe, a world champion with Argentina in 2022, proved at Manchester City that he could shine under Pep Guardiola's pressure, and now at Atletico, he's confirming that he's a complete forward. He scores, assists, presses, and doesn't back down from anyone. In the derby, he didn't just score 2 goals. He was a constant thorn in Madrid's defense, running as if he had a V8 engine under his boots. His words about Barca aren't casual. In football, when a player talks about a club like this, it's not just politeness, it's like throwing a wink in a nightclub, knowing everyone will notice. And if you're already freaking out about this, Cules, subscribe to the channel, because what comes next in this story is even juicier. The context of these statements is key. Barca under Hansi Flick is in a sweet spot. With 16 points, just 2 behind Real Madrid, the Blaugranas have regained that spark that sometimes seemed lost. LAMINE YAMAL, at 17, is tearing through defenses like they're made of paper. Robert Lewandowski remains a predator in the box, and the midfield with PEDRI and GAVI is starting to purr like in the good old days. But Barca, always ambitious, knows they need more firepower up front, especially with Lewandowski in the twilight of his career. That's where Alvarez's name starts to resonate like a chant at the Camp Nou. The Argentine, with his versatility to play as a 9-second striker, or even on the wings, fits perfectly into Flick's system, which prioritizes intensity and mobility. Let's go back to Alvarez's words. Barca has something special, a DNA that we all know. It's not just their history, it's how they play, how they make you feel football. Facing them is always special, and I hope one day I can be in a big game against them, or who knows, maybe in another context. This "Cules" is pure fuel for the imagination. Is Alvarez opening the door to Barca? Is it just a diplomatic compliment? Or has Joan Laporta already got his number in his contacts? The humor here is imagining Laporta, with his shark smile, watching the press conference and thinking, this guy is a Cule and he doesn't even know it yet. But let's not get carried away by emotion alone. Atletico won't let Alvarez go easily. Signed this summer for around €75 million, he's one of Diego Simeone's key pieces, seen as the future of the team. Plus, his contract is long, and Cholo isn't the type to gift players to rivals, especially not to Barca. However, football is unpredictable. A year ago, no one imagined Mbappé at Real Madrid, and now look at him, scoring goals for the Blancos. The transfer market is like a telenovela. You never know what twist the plot will take. Let's tackle this from a financial perspective, because at Joan Laporta's Barca, financial fair play isn't just an administrative constraint, it's an invisible referee dictating the limits and possibilities of every decision. Julián Alvarez's transfer from Manchester City to Atletico de Madrid, finalized this summer, represented a massive investment for the Colchoneros. €75 million fixed, plus an additional €20 million in performance-based bonuses. This sum reflects Atletico's ambition to position itself as a key player in Spanish and European football. But what's particularly catching the attention of observers are the persistent rumors about his release clause, estimated at around €120 million according to sources close to the Madrid club. While this figure is staggering, it's not insurmountable for a club like FC Barcelona, especially when it comes to a player of Alvarez's caliber. However, Barca, still recovering from past financial excesses, can no longer afford to spend recklessly. The lessons learned from costly and unproductive transfers have forced the club to adopt a more pragmatic and creative approach. Strategic sales of players like unnamed player, along with smartly negotiated loans, have helped clean up the accounts and regain some financial flexibility. In this context, acquiring Alvarez, while tempting, would require an ingenious approach. Installment payments, a tactic already successfully used for Dani Olmo's recruitment, could be a solution. Another option would be to include players in the deal, such as a revitalized Ansu Fati, whose potential has yet to be fully realized, or even a fullback like Alejandro Bald, who has already caught the attention of Atletico president Enrique Cerezo in past statements. Enrique Cerezo, a prominent and sometimes controversial figure at Atletico, didn't hesitate to take an ironic jab at Barca's young prodigy Lamine Yamal when Joan Laporta publicly expressed his admiration for Julián Alvarez. "I like Yamal, so we're at peace," he declared with a sly smile. A seemingly innocuous remark that actually hides an underlying tension between the two clubs, as well as a potential negotiation that could turn out to be epic. Imagine the secret meetings in luxurious offices overlooking the Manzanares, where every word is weighed, every number analyzed. Deco, Barca's sporting director, arrives armed with folders full of analytical data, demonstrating how Alvarez's arrival could boost the team's expected goals, XG, by 15%, a compelling argument against Miguel Ángel Gil Marín, who fiercely defends his Argentine gem. Julián Alvarez's agency, represented by Fernando Hidalgo, plays a key role in this saga. Hidalgo, a shrewd strategist experienced in complex negotiations, recently hinted in a Cule podcast that the door isn't completely closed. Julián has admired Barca since he was a child because of Messi. Football changes fast, and we'll have to negotiate with the club. A cautious statement that was enough to set social media ablaze and reignite speculation. Hidalgo knows exactly how to leverage this admiration for Messi, a powerful emotional argument, especially for an Argentine player who grew up idolizing La Pulga. Moreover, despite winning 3 titles with Manchester City, Alvarez hasn't yet had the undisputed star role he deserves. This hunger for recognition, for individual trophies like the Ballon d'Or or the Pichichi, could push him to seek a new challenge, a club where he would be the undisputed protagonist. In Argentina, Albiceleste manager Lionel Scaloni sees Julián Álvarez as the natural heir to Lautaro Martínez. However, to fully embrace this role, Alvarez needs a club that not only gives him playing time but also a tactical system that highlights his strengths. At Atletico, under Diego Simeone's leadership, he is often used as a tireless soldier, willing to sacrifice for the team. But while this approach is noble, it sometimes limits his offensive expression. A club like Barca, with its possession-based play and offensive philosophy, could offer him the creative freedom he needs to fully flourish. There's a touch of humor in this story, Jules. Julián Álvarez, a declared Messi fan, has often repeated, "Leo is my reference. I mimic his free kicks in training." An admiration that, if it materialized into a transfer to Barca, would make him the perfect bridge between the Messi era and the new generation of Blaugrana talents. Picture the scene. The sun sets over Madrid, the Metropolitano is empty, but the echo of the fans' chants still lingers in the stands. Meanwhile, at the Ciutat Esportiva, Barca trains under Hansi Flick's orders, who meticulously analyzes derby footage, admiring how Alvarez presses like a demon. We, the Cules, in Barcelona's bars or online chats, are already dreaming of a future where Julián Álvarez wears our colors. If this silence, broken by the Argentine statements, marks the beginning of a new era, let's keep the faith. Because in the Blaugrana world, dreams have a strange habit of turning into reality. Tomorrow's match against Real Sociedad is crucial, but the future with Julián promises to be epic. His words have resonated like a shockwave through Spanish football, and analysts on TV are dissecting every syllable as if it were a secret code. Alvarez, with his calm and composed voice, doesn't just praise Flick's style of play, he drops a hint that speaks to all of us. Barca is a club that makes you dream big, with a philosophy that transcends generations. This isn't just empty flattery, Cules. It's the kind of statement a player makes when he knows he's being watched, when he senses that his current contract, no matter how lucrative, might just be a stepping stone to something greater. And the irony is that right after humiliating their eternal rival, the Argentine throws us a lifeline disguised as a compliment. As if fate, that capricious screenwriter, decided to gift us a plot twist worthy of the greatest telenovelas. As football continues its course between financial realities and dreams of glory, one thing is certain: Julián Álvarez's words have sparked a flame in the hearts of Cules. Whether it's a simple courtesy or the beginning of a football romance, one thing is clear: the future looks exciting. And if tomorrow, against Real Sociedad, Barca manages to win, the idea of seeing Alvarez in Blaugrana will become even more tangible. Until then, let's dream, analyze, and keep our eyes on the horizon. Because in football, as in life, the wildest dreams sometimes come true. Visca el Barca.